So right now, there's probably $5,000 to $15,000 worth of revenue sitting in your coaching business that you don't even know about. It's not hiding in some complex marketing strategy or fancy funnel sequence. It's sitting right there in the people who've already raised their hand and said, I'm interested. The problem is that many coaches think that their sales funnel ends when someone books a discovery call. But that's actually where the real money gets made or lost. In this week's video, I'm going to show you exactly where that revenue is leaking out of your business and the simple systems that plug those holes. So if you're ready to find your hidden money, then stay with me. Let's go. Welcome, coaches. I'm Jackie Appleby, online business manager, business coach, and your guide on this journey towards not just building a successful coaching business, but creating a transformative one. You want to grow your coaching business while leading your best life, and I'm here to share tips, tricks, and strategies to make that dream achievable. With years of experience in the coaching industry, I've helped countless coaches move from feeling completely overwhelmed and chaotic to calm and thriving using my Coach to CEO framework. So if you feel like you're ready to transform your business, then you are in the right place, my friend. So here's what I see happening for many coaches. Someone downloads your lead magnet, joins your email list, and actually books a discovery call. You're excited. This person is clearly interested, right? You conduct the call, you have a great conversation, they seem keen, but then radio silence when it comes to actually moving forward. So what do you do next? Well, if you're like a lot of people, you might send one follow-up email and then nothing because you don't want to pester, right? You tell yourself, well, if they were really serious, they would have gotten back to me. And that potential client just disappears into the ether. Here's what's actually happening. Your potential clients aren't rejecting you. They're drowning in their own lives. They put themselves last, which is exactly why they need coaching in the first place. They get your follow-up email, think, I should really respond to Jackie, and then their kid needs help with homework, or a work crisis hits, or they simply forget. Life gets lifey. Meanwhile, you're sitting there thinking that they've lost interest when the reality is they're probably thinking about working with you, but just haven't taken any action yet. Successful coaches know that gentle follow-up isn't pushy. It's actually serving your clients by making it easier for them to say yes to the support that they desperately need. This is where your revenue is leaking out. Not because your offer isn't good enough, not because your discovery call was weak, but because there's no system to nurture these warm leads through becoming actual clients. So what's the solution? You need a system that tracks every interaction and makes follow-up feel natural and professional. So let me show you exactly how this works in practice using Moxie. This is the tool that helped me maintain a 97% close rate, not just because of my sales call, but because nothing falls through the cracks afterwards. Okay, so here we are inside my Moxie demo platform, and the first thing that you need to have set up in order to capture those leads is a lead capture form. And there's a couple different ways that you can use a lead capture form. One is as a standalone form, and the other one is as part of a calendar intake if you want to get them to book their discovery call at the same time that you kind of receive their initial information. So I'm just going to show you where you would find these. This would be under the form section. You can see that I've had a submission come in from one of my forms already. Here in the form builder, this is the website form that I have set up, very basic. You can see that it just captures basic details, first name, last name. Now, these are all, you can map this information directly in Moxie so that this pre-populates your client fields. So you can make sure that the information that is captured here goes into the right spot. So I have some basic contact information at the top, including where did you learn about us, which will map to the referral source field, and then we have some information on what this particular person is looking for in terms of business coaching. So you can, when you create these forms for intake, you can create them however you want. You can style them however you want. You can put whatever questions in here that you want to capture. I do feel that it's important to ensure that you are asking some questions around, what they're looking for. Maybe they've had coaching before, just to get a better understanding of where they're at in their journey. And then you can share a link for this. So you can share a link to the form through email or however you want to do that to capture that. And you can also embed this in a code widget on your website so that it's all there on your website, ready for people to fill in whenever they land on your website. So it's very versatile. So once you've had somebody set up, or once you've had somebody fill out your form, you'll see them come in. If you have used a lead capture form, and this is a really important piece, you have to make sure that you're using the right type of form in order for them to go in the right spot in Moxie. So if you've used a lead capture form, when you go under pipeline, you will see anybody that has come in on your forms, as well as anybody that you have also set up manually. So you can go into these records here, and these are actually your opportunities. So this isn't a client record. This isn't a company record. This is an opportunity record. And this is the piece that we're particularly talking about in the video this week, is managing these opportunities. So in Moxie, you can see that Sarah Mitchell has, she's at the stage of booking a discovery call. And Michael Chen we have here, who is at the stage of going through a coaching package. So you can click into each one of these. Now, it's fairly basic information in here. Here you have the overview. So the stage is kind of like your pipeline, and you can build this out however you want. This is kind of the standard Moxie setup, but you can change these to all of the different steps that you have in your lead funnel inside of Moxie. So maybe you have, when they fill out a form, it's the inquiry, and then maybe the next step is you send them a meeting request to book that discovery call, and then the next one could be discovery call held, and then you maybe want to send out a proposal and all of that kind of thing. So however you want to set up this pipeline is entirely up to you. The one extra I would advise that you put in there is some kind of, we have on hold. I would maybe change that language to follow up, so that if at any point your opportunity stops moving through your pipeline and you need to take action, that's your indicator. Follow up would be your indicator that you need to do something. So you can change these up to whatever stage they're in. And then the confidence piece here is just giving you a better idea of how, like, you'll get an idea right away in your discovery call of whether the person that you're talking to feels like they're going to move forward or might need some extra nurturing. So that's just a nice little bit to have. The estimated value is really nice. You can put a number in here. I'm going to go ahead and just update some details here. I'm going to make this a one-time, and I want to put an estimated close in. And this is also important for your momentum, is instead of letting this drag out, like, how much time do you want to put into this? If you've had a meeting with them, like, when are you hoping that this will close? This just helps to give you a little bit of accountability. So I'm going to put this at the end of the month. And here is where you would put more information in. Now, if they filled out a lead capture form, you would actually see that information in these other spots. So you'd be able to pull some of that information in. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little note in there to say that Sarah is looking at growing her coaching business, remembering that I'm a business coach, so this is kind of suited to me, but you can put whatever is relevant for your coaching business in here. So that's all I'm going to put right now. And then this is the important piece. These are your to-dos. So if you need to add something for you to do, this is where you're going to put it, right? So with Sarah, she's on discovery calls. So maybe I'm going to say follow up with coaching package information after discovery call. And then the important thing here is to click on these little lines at the bottom. This is what's going to bring up your date, and this is what gives you an actionable date item. So I'm going to put this as the 22nd, and then I'm going to save it. Right, so you can see some things have updated here, but the important thing is when I go to my dashboard and I look at focus, if there was anything that was coming up this week, it would show right here. So when you log into Moxie, you're going to see any of those to-dos, whether they are in a lead or whether they are client to-dos, you're going to see them right here on your dashboard. So these are not showing because they're not due this week. So I'm not seeing anything come through today, but you can dig into some of these. I also don't have a calendar connected in here, but you can dig into some of these areas and see what's coming up for you. So then if you want to do some kind of follow-up, you're going to head back over to that pipeline area. We're going to go back into Sarah, and there's a couple of extra pieces in here. So you can put bigger notes in here. You can attach files. So if there's something that you're sending her, you can upload a file here. The activity will start to log. So when there's emails going backwards and forwards and that kind of stuff, you'll start to see that log here. And you can also add. So if you wanted to send a follow-up email to Sarah, this is where you would come. So you'd add, you do an email, and then I don't have anything set up in here right now. So, but this would bring up your email. And then you could go ahead and type an email. If you have a template set up, you could send that template out. But you can manage that whole piece from right inside the opportunity. Under the lead info, this is the information that will have been populated from the form that she filled out, plus anything else that you want to add manually. So if during your discovery call, you take a moment and just update the address details or website or her role or her business name or whatever, you can do that here. And then automations are any that are running. That's a completely different area, so we're not going to go into that today. But I just wanted to give you the overview of where you would come to action and also to show your to-dos. And you don't have to leave it just at one. Like, you can build out a whole bunch of stuff. So I already know that I want to send package information. Maybe I also want to send a follow-up email after October 23rd, if no response received. These are the ones I like to do if I've already taken an action and I want to make sure that I'm following up. So if I've sent an email out that maybe has a booking form or a booking scheduler or something that needs that person to take action, I always like to come in and add myself a little to do to say, follow up that person if you don't hear back by this date. And I'm going to move this one up a little bit so hopefully we can see it. So I'm going to put that there, and then I am going to save. So now we have a couple of items, and if I go back to the dashboard, here you'll see that we have, it's actually past due today because I put the wrong date on it, but here you can see that it's now showing up in my to-do list. So this is how you would keep track of leads. Now, what I love about Moxie, as I've mentioned before, is this is all in a lead management. We have not set this person up as a client yet. We have not put them in as a contact necessarily. So this keeps things pretty clean in that unless they actually come on board as a coaching client, they don't show up in some of these areas. You can move them over. Like, there is the ability in the pipeline, you'll see here under Sarah, that there is the ability here that you can link something to the client, or you can add a new one. If you want to send out things like contracts, that kind of stuff, you do have to have them as a client. So you'll get so far with the opportunity, and then once they're at like the contract stage and they've indicated, yes, I want to move ahead, send me a contract, that's when you'll want to set them up as that client and have everything moved over. But what I love about Moxie is that it allows us to keep everything really clean. So your opportunities, your lead management piece is going to happen in this opportunity section. You'll want to come in here, check on these regularly, see how you're doing. In this opportunities area, when you filled out all of this information, it helps you to manage at a high level overview where everything's at. So you can see at the top here, we've got these little tabs. This is just showing you where you're at. So we know that we've got $750 in total right now. We have 750 of that sitting in the meeting stage. Now, if I came down here to Michael's and filled his out, he's at inquiry. I think this might be like a $500, let's say, VIP session. And we want that to close maybe mid-November. Right? So now you can start to see how much money you've potentially got sitting in these leads and opportunities. So this just helps you to stay abreast. You've also got some searches, some filtering that you can do up here that allows you to see things. There's also a Kanban view. If you'd rather look at it in this way, you can move people between the different stages of your pipeline so you can see exactly where you're at when it's due to close. This all helps you to stay on track. And if we go into the forecast section, you can actually see, based on the information that we have, when you've got money coming in and what that might look like. So that is the quick walkthrough of how Moxie helps you to manage your opportunities. As I've mentioned before, I really like it compared to some of the other platforms because it does separate these opportunities out so you can manage them separate from actual work projects that you've got going on. And that's why I feel like Moxie is one of the better platforms, CRM platforms, because it does give you this dedicated lead management, opportunity management piece as part of the platform. Okay, so this might look like a lot of tech, but the beautiful thing is that once it's set up, it kind of runs itself. You're not trying to remember who you need to follow up with or when. The system tells you exactly what to do and when to do it. Now, before you think you need to rush out and get Moxie or any fancy CRM, let me be clear about something. Your software is only as good as the person using it. The real magic isn't the tool. It's having a defined client journey process that you know inside and out. You could absolutely start managing this with a simple calendar system or even a spreadsheet. The key is designing a clear path from the first marketing interaction all the way through to the coaching program enrollment. Here's what you can implement immediately. Map out every touch point in your client process. When someone downloads your lead magnet, what happens next? When they book a discovery call, what's your follow-up sequence? When they don't show up, what's your plan? When they say, let me think about it, after a great call, how do you stay connected? Once you have that process defined, then you can decide whether you want to manage it manually or automate it with software. But the process comes first because no CRM in the world can fix a poorly designed client journey. The beauty of having this system is that it removes the guesswork. You're not trying to remember who you should follow up with or wondering if you're being too pushy. You simply follow your process and your process takes care of everything else. So let's bring this back to that hidden revenue leak I mentioned at the beginning. Remember those $5,000 to $15,000 opportunities sitting in your business? Well, here's where you find them. It's in the lead who downloaded your guide 6 months ago, but you never followed up with. It's in the discovery call no-show who actually wanted to work with you, but got overwhelmed by life. It's in the person who said, let me think about it after your call, and you never heard from them again. Not because they weren't interested, but because there was no system to keep the conversation going. This isn't a marketing problem or a pricing problem. It's a sales funnel problem. And specifically, it's the gap between interested prospect and paying client, where most coaches lose track of people. The good news, once you can see where the leak is happening, you can fix it, whether that's with a sophisticated CRM like Moxie or a simple spreadsheet system. The principle is the same. Define your process, follow your process, and never let a lead go cold again. Now, this is exactly the kind of work that we dive into during a Rise business audit. We map out your entire client journey from that first marketing touch all the way through to program enrollment and identifying where you're losing revenue along the way. If you'd like to learn more about how this might work for your specific coaching business, then let's hop on a synergy call and start mapping out your situation. We'll look at your current process, identify the gaps, and discuss whether a full business audit might be the right next step for you. Now, here's the thing. Most coaches wait until they're frustrated with lost leads before they address this. But if you're watching this video, you're already thinking strategically about your business systems. That puts you ahead of the game. So I've left the link to book a synergy call in the description below. Let's chat about plugging those revenue leaks and getting you a system that actually works. And if this video helped you to see your sales funnel a little differently, make sure to subscribe for more behind the scenes business strategies that actually move the needle. I'll see you in the next one.